Welcome students. Today's topic is Principles of Journalism. In this topic, I will cover the journalism objectives and discontents and truthfulness, humanness, social responsibilities of the journalist, qualities, duties, responsibilities of journalist and also code of ethics by the journalism. Now coming to discuss on the journalism. Journalism as a craft, a profession and even as a trade or business is over 2 centuries old. It was made possible by the coming together of number of technologies as well as several social, political and economic developments. You know, journalism is a art, it's a profession. Why we call it's a trade? Earlier we called it is a service. Many eminent persons were called journalism is a service. The trends were changed. Now the trade, it is a business. We call it is a business. So there is a no service in the journalism. And coming to the technologies, earlier we know we have only print media, form of print. Now we have a radio form, audio form, that is, and audio visual, that is a television form, and interactivity, multimedia. So in the social media we have emerged with various forms emerged in the social media. Here we need to know about the objectivity of journalism and these contents. As per the British print media, there is a regulations. The Press Complaints Commission regulates the British print media. The commission defines the public interest as the objectivity of the journalism. Another one is detecting or exposing crime or a serious demeanor. All these are the basic objectives in the journalism. There is a more objectives like protecting public health and safety and preventing the public from being misled by some statement or action of an individual or organization. Here is organization means maybe office, maybe that is a government office, a government unit or a sector, whatever it is. All this comes under the organization. There is a basic elements in the journalism. Harkup and O'Neill in the 2001 identified 10 basic elements that journalists look for when assessing the validity of a story. The stories, the news stories which are related to the power elite, the stories connecting to powerful individuals, organizations or institutions. Another kind of element is celebrity. The news stories concerning people who are already famous. There is another element is entertainment. In the entertainment content, we know business, human interest, unfolding drama or offering opportunities for humorous treatment, entertaining photographs or witty headlines. All these comes under the entertainment element. Another one is surprise. The news stories with an elements of the unexpected, sometimes with or without contrast. All these some important elements comes under the journalism. There is more elements like bad news, good news. Coming to discuss on the bad news, the news stories with negative overtones such as conflict or tragedy, etc. Now coming to discuss on good news, the stories with positive overtones such as rescues or cures related to health or some other mental health diseases. So all this comes under the good news. Let us discuss about the another good element is magnitude. The news stories perceived as sufficiently significant either in the numbers of people involved or in a potential impact, that is a magnitude. Another one is relevance. The news stories about issues, groups, nations perceived to be relevant to the audience. There is more elements in the journalism like follow-up stories. We know if an incident is happened yesterday, we read in the newspapers today. And the technology available, we know the on-the-spot news, live news also in the electronic media. There is required follow-up stories. The reader, the viewer, listener, they interested to know the follow-up stories. They interested to what happened the instant after that happened. There is another good element is actually it is not exactly called a good, but every media agency its own agenda. That is we call a media agenda. The news stories that set or fit the news organization's own agenda. Every newspaper or electronic media, print media, whatever it is, either in social media networks, social media applications, every media agency its own style of writings. There is a own agenda for a particular a political party or a business or a businessman or related to any company or any unit. So every news media is its own media agenda. Now coming to discuss on the comments. Generally comments are free, facts are scared. Statement given by editor of the Manchester Guardian, C.P. Scott. As per his comment, his statement, comment everyone can say whatever they say, they can say. There is opinion, so they can say. We have a freedom of expression in our constitution, but whether it comes to the facts, we must check the facts. Without facts, we could not give any stories. In a traditional media, we have a newspapers, television channels. They must check. Coming to digital media or some social media networks, social media applications, there is a no fact checking. There is a no mechanism to check the facts. We will discuss about the fact checking in the principles of journalism. Now coming to the discussion on the principles of truthfulness, humanness, social responsibility, social good. Contemporary journalists would have some difficulty accepting such as distinction between news and truth. Indeed, newsmen now almost invariably depict themselves not merely as reporters of the fragments of the information that come their way, as active pursuers of the truth. They must need journalism, journalists collect the truth. Without truthness, there is a no surviveness of the media, particularly print media, electronic media. They need truthness. Whereas coming to the digital media or social media networks, there is a maybe truth, maybe no fact, fact, whatever it is. Coming to the traditional media, they must follow the truthness. Another aspect is humanness. Journalists are the first to take credit for stories and pictures that provoke others to action against some social travesty. Humanness was expressed by their section of their topics and the image produced from them. We know in many newspapers, almost all newspapers, they give human interest stories in their separate page, particularly related to, for example, newspapers. We know in Eenadu there is a Vasundhara page, and in the Sakshi there is a one particular page, in the Andhra Jyoti a particular news page, one page devoted to items related to human interest. Coming to the social responsibility. Social responsibility of a journalist is of a paramount importance. It is now well recognized. Journalism is the mirror of society. Already we know in the democratic country, journalism or the press is the fourth estate. So every journalist must maintain social responsibility. Journalists, they assign by the beats, even though they need to work. There is a possibilities how they can do. They have to do for the social responsibility. The journalist acts as a spokesman of mankind. He or she therefore provide a truthful, comprehensive and intelligent account of the events in a context that gives meaning. Now coming to discuss on the social good. Information in journalism is understood as a social good and not as a commodity, which means the journalist shares responsibilities for the information transmitted, and this is accountable not only to those controlling the media, ultimately to the public at large, including various social interests. Now we will go with the qualities of a journalist. The journalist should have the knowledge of law, religion, science, business, politics, war, economics, etc. Because the journalist who covers all these fields in their assignment. So you need to know a little bit about the all subjects, not maybe in the expert on the particular subject. He should be need to know a bit of the knowledge in the particular specified subjects like science, business, politics, war, law, religion, economics. He may not be an economic expert. journalists need to write a story related to economics, related to budget, related to some business. So he need to know the words related to economic subject. The journalist should also be interested in philosophy, music, sports, and other cultural activities. A person who joined in a newspaper, he was assigned by the sports news. He don't say, I don't know the sports. He must know the sports. He must know the words related to the sports. Generally, we call it is a jargon. So in each subject, there is a words which is related to some particular that subject only, specialty to the subject, the jargon words. So journalist must know the jargon words related to his assignment. Journalist should be reader of a newspaper, magazines, journals, books, periodicals. Why? Because these many are the sources of news. So he can collect the knowledge from the various other newspapers, magazines, journals, periodicals. So must at least 10 to 15 minutes or 30 minutes, a journalist must read all other newspapers where he was working. In this profession, the journalist may have to travel a lot in the city or out of the city, in the interior areas, rural areas, maybe in different parts of this country. So he is always maybe ready to move, ready to travel for the assignment which is allotted by the management or editorial board. The journalist must always to learn the new techniques. Learning all the techniques of the profession of journalism by going through the mill is only sure and certain road to success. In any field, always there is a time to time, there is a number of changes is happening. So either a teacher or a journalist or a mechanic. So they must know the new techniques. They must be aware the technology related to the profession. Now coming to discuss on the duties and responsibilities of journalists. Before journalists can write about a subject, they must gather information. They usually conduct several interviews with people involved in or sometimes having knowledge of the subject. While going to conduct the interviews, the journalist must prepare accordingly because he know the subject. He have to prepare the questions what he need to ask the interviewer. So must be aware about the subject. And another aspect is research. Researching a story is often similar to conducting an investigation, and journalists must sometimes ask difficult questions. They have to invest a lot of time tracking down information and people relevant to the story. Here is a research where we can find the sources for the research. Generally, all newspapers and electronic media houses, there is a library. Now they are equipped with the digital libraries. So there is a lot of information available. So the journalist must visit the library regularly in their media house. Here we need to know about the code of ethics. As a journalist, inform and comment on matters of public interest in a fair, accurate, unbiased and decent manner. Inaccuracy and professional remarks should always be avoided. Verification and checking of news before publication is all the more necessary where it is a publication and the comments based thereon can create complications. Nowadays we have a fact checking websites, a public sector, that is a Press Trust of India, one it is a Press Information Bureau. We have a public sector unit under the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. There is a mechanism for the fact checking. Must visit the PIB's fact checking website before, if there is any misinformation, if your reporter thinks that is not matching original content. So he must visit or she must visit the PIB fact checking websites. And there is another private sector fact checking organizations also there. So must visit the fact checking websites and cross check, verification, then after only give it for the publication. Now coming to discuss on another ethics is institution and invasion on the privacy of individuals. This is not permissible unless overweighed by genuine overriding public interest. We have a right to privacy. So without the permission, we could not involve we could not collect the information from the individuals. When any factual error or mistake is detected or confined, the newspaper should publish the correction promptly with due prominence and with an apology or expression of regrets in case of serious lapse. It is applicable to newspapers, radio or television news channels, wherever the media house must give the apologies in case of error or a mistake. Proper verification must be done before publishing or broadcasting reports regarding communal clashes or disputes. There is a code of ethics by the Press Council of India. Every journalist must read the code of ethics by the Press Council of India. So he aware how to write a communal clash, what names have to be given, could not be given, everything he knows. And in case of some incidents, some happenings, some accidental, where the names, how to include the names and where the names need not to be included, all these points should be known when the reporter visits or read the Press Council of India's guidelines. Sensational headings should be avoided. Headlines should conform to the contents of news stories. They should be clear, unambitious and also authentic. Absence and vulgar items should be done away with as these offend the public's good taste. In order to make profits, a newspaper should not throw the ethics of journalistic values to the winds. Instead, it should try to create a suitable equilibrium between objectivity and commercialization. Avoid caste, religion or community disclosures. This is an important point. Every journalist must know when he joined in a news agency, news media house. So far we have discussed about the principles of journalism, the objectivity and truthfulness and social responsibility of the journalist, qualities and duties of the journalist and some code of ethics related to the journalist. Journalists must know about some other basic concepts like some acts, some rules and regulations by the Press Council of India. For example, defamation. We know the defamation, if any writing in the form of print, if we given in the newspaper, it is against to the fact of an individual, it may cause to the defamation. Maybe there is two types of defamations like libel defamation, slander defamation. In written defamation, the journalist must face the circumstances after the publication. So journalist must know what comes under the defamation and not. So he must careful while writing the content. And coming to the another aspect, another point in the code of ethics, that is contempt of court. There is a particular act related and how to be write a news related to the courts and verdicts. The writing should not be manipulate, should not be influence the verdict. So the journalist need to write only the released, means the output by the judgments and related to the officials of a judicial. So he must or she must need to write only the verdicts, only out by the released by the court officials. Instead, if he writes any obligations, any comments on the judge or a court official, so journalist must face the contempt of court. Actually, there is a contempt of court. It's not filed at the lower courts, but even though lower court judge their complaint in the high courts and supreme courts, there is a two courts only, there is a contempt of court is acceptable. So they have a right to give their complaint in the high court, in the supreme court. So must be aware the journalists about these courts and laws and acts related to the profession. And acts like Official Secret Act, there is a Official Secret Act in 1923 that is accepted, that is now also following in a post-Indian constitution after 1950. So against this Official Secrets Act, if a journalist disclose the secrets of documents in the form of print or electronic media, whatever it is, so he must be face the following circumstances like there is a punishment, there is a imprisonment in the jail. So must be aware about the Official Secrets Act. And another important act is a Copyright Act. There is a Copyright Act in 1957. If any writing or a music or a art, whatever it is, when it is registered on the copyright. So the journalist must use if any content or any image or any art. So he must take the permission from the author. Without permissions, he don't accept, he don't give any image or a writing or a art in the newspapers. So these are the some important laws and acts need to be known by the every journalist. In this lesson, we have discussed about the principles of journalism. Those are the objectivity, truthfulness, social good, social responsibilities, and some laws, acts. The main important point is defamation, right to privacy. All these some important code of ethics we have discussed, and also the qualities and duties of a reporter and a journalist who work for the particular media, either in a electronic media or a newspaper or any social media agencies. So thank you very much for viewing this video lesson. Thank you very much.